Hi friends, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well. So I wanted to come here and give you guys a bit of a haul. These are some books that were a little bit carried over from May that I didn't get a chance to talk about, and also specific for June. So the main focus of this book haul really is the Read Caribbean aspect. The whole of June, Read Caribbean is the month that you do what it says on the tin and can read Caribbean. Obviously read it all year round, but as it's Caribbean Heritage Month, the two go hand in hand together, and that was sort of created by Book of Sins on Instagram, to my best acknowledgement, and I took part in it this time around and really have been enjoying it. So I wanted to come and show you guys the books that I maybe didn't necessarily get to, but you know, it's all in the scope of trying to read more widely, more diversely, and specifically for me, reading, you know, stories set in around my actual heritage. You know, I am of a Caribbean background. I'm Jamaican and Cuban, and I really don't read any literature that is not like westernized, really. The inspiration behind this particular book haul. However, I also have some classics that I want to talk to you guys about that I mentioned in a recent haul. I don't know if that haul is going to go up before or after this, but I didn't have much detail, but I've decided to be a good booktuber and look it up now and give you a bit more like information for those books. And then some, as I mentioned, carryovers from May. So these are like Netgalley arcs that I got approved of and I didn't notice them before I did whatever book video last time, and then some that have been approved for June. So enough rambling on all the stuff we don't care about. Let's get cracking with the books. I think I'm going to start with all the physical stuff, and then you leave Netgalley ones till later, and I'm going to try and pick out all the particular Read Caribbeans from my stack, because they're not all like of Caribbean heritage, but that's kind of what I wanted to push forward today and kind of spotlight. Alright, so getting started. I ordered from Black Horse for the first time, and interesting, I believe they source books from independent bookstores, so you're directly supporting them, and then, you know, the stores are benefiting from them. But because of that, it takes a while for the books to be dispatched, because if they don't have it directly in their own shop, they're obviously seeking it from other independent bookshops. So I waited a couple of weeks to get these, but they're here, they've arrived, and these are the books that I got. So as I mentioned, this first stack is all for Read Caribbean. The first one is a middle grade, and this is When Life Gives You Mangoes by Karen Gettin, and this is an absolutely stunning cover. Like, how sublime is that? All the shades, absolutely beautiful. A lot of these books I have seen from Book of Sins and her recommendations, so they're things that I would keep my eye out for. So, a summer she can't remember, a friendship she won't forget. Nothing much happens in Sycamore, the small village where Clara lives. At least that's how it seems. She loves eating ripe mangoes falling from trees, running outside in the rainy season, and escaping to her secret hideout with her best friend, Gaynor. There's only one problem. She can't remember anything about the previous summer. When a quirky girl called Rudy, or Ruddy, arrives from England, everything starts to change. Gaynor stops acting like a best friend while Dee and Clara roam across the island to uncover an old family secret. As the summer reaches its peak and the island storms begin, Clara's memory starts to return, and she must finally face the truth of what happened last year. That sounds really exciting. So for me, this one was more of like a cover buy, and just that I'd heard, you know, praise for it. I didn't really necessarily know what it was about. Sorry, stuff's falling out. I've got the invoices here, and they all have these Black Horse bookmark, which is awesome. The old-fashioned bookshop vintage bookmark edition. Gorgeous, love those. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to trying that one. I just can't get over how beautiful the cover is. Next up is one that I've actually been wanting to read for a long time, and this has arrived, and I love this edition. I was going to go for the classic version that you see all the time, but I saw this. The colour stuck out. To me, it's more aesthetically pleasing, and I think it looks awesome, but it is smaller than I expected. But anyway, that is The Mermaid of Black Conch by Monique Roffey. This one is a little bit of Caribbean folklore and like curse and obviously mermaids. So this one says, jealousy. Near the island of Black Conch, a fisherman sings to himself while waiting for a catch, but David attracts a sea dweller that he never expected. I think you might pronounce it as Howdee-haie, an innocent young woman cursed by jealous wives to live as a mermaid. Love. When American tourists capture Howdee-haie, David rescues her and vows to win her trust. Slowly, painfully, she transforms into a woman again. Freedom. Yet as their love grows, they discover that the world around them is changing, and they cannot escape the curse forever. I'd be very interested in seeing how that develops, particularly from the folklore and curse perspective. Like, I want to know the magic behind it, so I hope it goes into some depth about that and why she was cursed, how she was cursed, those sort of logistics. But I'm also looking forward to a little bit of a romance in that aspect. So the next one I have is Mr. Loverman by Bernardine Evaristo. This will be my second book by this author. I read Girl, Woman, Other and absolutely adored it. And this one, I don't know if this one came out before Girl, Woman, Other. I think it must have done. Yeah, because it had a different cover before this as well. So this is like the reprinting of it, I believe. I think all of her works coming out kind of looking like these pastely backgrounds and a statement from the story kind of printed on the front. So what I know about this one is we are following an older man. He's 74 years old, called Barry, from Antigua, but lives in Britain, I believe. Yeah, lives in Britain, and he's been married for like all of his adult life pretty much. Him and his wife don't really get on, and his wife's always assumed that he's been cheating on her, like basically throughout their whole marriage. Yes, he has, but it's actually deeper than that. He's actually been in a relationship with his best friend called Morris since they were children, or since childhood. So it's gonna be, I'm hoping, conversations and just like internal monologue on what it's like to, you know, be in love with the same gender, hiding that, living like this double life. I'm really looking forward to that. One of my really anticipated books that I'm super excited to get to, it's a recent release as well, and a bit of Caribbean fantasy, which is exciting, is Witches Steeped in Gold by, is it Shannon Smart? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but what a beautiful, stunning cover this one is. So, it's a little bit chunky, it's beautiful. The thing is, with this, again, it was another cover by, I saw Witches, I saw Caribbean fantasy, I saw the cover, and I was like, I don't even care what it's about at this point, I want it. So let's actually find out what the synopsis says. Okay. Iraya Adair has spent her life in a cell, heir of an overthrown and magically gifted dynasty, started from the island nation of Ica. But every day brings her close to freedom and vengeance. Jasmine Carriot grew up dressed in gold with stolen magic at her fingertips. Daughter of the self-crowned Doyen, her existence is a threat to her mother's rule. But Jasmine has no intention of dying. Sworn enemies, the two witches enter a deadly alliance to take down the woman who threatens both their worlds. But revenge is a bloody pursuit, and nothing is certain, except the lengths Ira and Jasmine will go to win this game. Oh my god. That sounds phenomenal. I'm very excited. I'm wondering if it's a standalone fantasy. It'll be cool if it is, but it might get to the point where I want more. Do you know what I mean? And next up, a book that I've seen doing the rounds a bit more frequently of late is Nicole Dennis Benn's Patsy. And I believe this is about, a few of these actually are LGBT themed as well, which is awesome because June is also Pride Month. And some of the books that I was reading for the Caribbean prompts and stuff also fell into Pride Month, so that was amazing. This one is Patsy, and Patsy basically has this friend, which I think by the way it's described as more than a friend, that she's trying to rekindle their young love, it says, who lives in New York, and so she wants to basically move from Jamaica over to New York to try and locate this friend and kind of just bring back that lost love that they had. But the thing that I hear a lot of people upset about is that Patsy leaves her child, and it sounds like it's without the intention of coming back or calling for that child, because I know, like, from my grandparents' generation, not my grandparents particularly, because my mum was born here, but like my uncles and aunties, so their siblings, they often did migrate over here, leaving their children in Jamaica and then calling for them when they were established and set up and, you know, earning some money and stuff. But I think where people are upset is that, and they can't relate to Patsy, is that she leaves her child like just indefinitely sort of thing. So I'll be interested to see what this one's about. I have seen people like talking about it, reviewing about it, but I still didn't realise how chunky this one is, and it does have small font, so I'm just hoping this is an interesting story on migration, LGBT representation, the whole, like, just the whole headspace of Patsy and what she's thinking about and going through. So those are all the Caribbean reads that I've got. So some extra things I forgot to mention, these two I picked up in Waterstones. Jumping back to Blackwell's again quickly, I picked up this one. This is His Only Wife by PeaceAndCookies, and this I'm really intrigued by, a beautiful cover as well. This says, Afi Tekpo is a young seamstress in Ghana. She is smart, she is pretty, and she's been convinced by her family to marry a man she does not know. Elkim Ghanyo is a wealthy businessman whose mother has chosen Afi in the hope that she will distract him from his relationship with a woman his family claims is inappropriate. Marrying a stranger seems a small price to pay in exchange for financial security for her family and the lifestyle she's always wanted in Accra, Ghana's gleaming capital, a place of wealth and sophistication. But when Afi arrives in the city, she realises her fairy tale ending might not be all that she'd hoped it to be. Her days are spent with nothing to do but cook meals for a man who may or may not turn up to eat them. Can she really live this life without losing sight of herself? I also wonder if these two women are going to meet and what will kind of become of that. The strain in the relationships and the kind of non-existent relationships by the sounds of this lady's perspective. So again, excited to get to that one. These are, I wouldn't have purchased them otherwise, but one that has been constantly on my mind and I keep meaning to get to is Ray Bearer by Jordan Ifweko. There is another cover that looks really stunning, but I like this one with the animals on it as well. And this is another bit of fantasy, African inspired fantasy, I believe. I don't know which part of the continent it's based from, but I've recently just read Children of Blood and Bone, and I'm looking for more like African culture inspired fantasy. I'm loving it. So this one says, Tarasai has always longed for the warmth of a family. She was raised in isolation by her mysterious, cunning and often absent mother, known only as the Lady. When Tarasai comes of age, the Lady sends her to the capital of the global empire of Aritsar to be chosen as one of the Crown Prince's Council of 11. If she's picked, she'll be joined with the other council members through the Ray, a bond deeper than blood. But the Lady has other ideas, including a magical wish that Tarasai is compelled to obey. Kill the Crown Prince once she gains his trust. Oh, that sounds epic! Alright, I also have Leave the World Behind by Ruman Alam. This is another one that's been doing the rounds. So Amanda and Clay are enjoying a taste of the good life when Ruth and GH, an older couple who claim to own the remote holiday home they're staying in, arrive seeking shelter. These strangers say that a power outage has swept the city, but with no phone service and the internet down, the facts are unknowable. What has happened back in New York? Is the holiday home truly safe? Is the holiday home truly a safe place for their families? And are they safe from one another? I feel like that almost jumps to so many conclusions, but it could get creepy. So I'm hoping for thriller. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Future Jen popping here as usual. I just want to come on and show you this awesome gift that I got given. So the author reached out to me and I was so excited because I've been talking about this book non-stop. I read it through Netgalley like last year I think, and I've just been raving about it because it's beautiful, and that is Mrs. Death by Selena Godin. This was phenomenal, and she messaged me and said please like send me your address. I'd love to basically thank you for the support that you've shown me since, you know, reading this, and I was so blown away and it is such a kind gesture. So this arrived like yesterday. She's also a read Caribbean author, I believe, of Jamaican heritage, I think. And yeah, so she sent me a hardcover copy. I'm so happy. It's absolutely stunning. Looks like so naked. And yeah, this is such a nice gift. It's just so kind. And inside, oh, she has signed one of her poetries, and this says, "And love will conquer hate, best wishes, Selena Godden," which is so sweet. And then on the inside of the actual book it says, "To Jen Wolf-Hailstorm, thank you for all your support, with the very best wishes, big love, Selena Godden." So I just want to say a big thank you to her for just sending it to me. I really do appreciate it. This book, oh my god, it's phenomenal. It says here, "Mrs. Death had had enough. She is exhausted from spending eternity doing her job, and now she seeks someone to unburden her conscience to. Wolf Wilford, a troubled young writer, is well acquainted with death, but until now hadn't met death in person. A black, working-class woman who shapeshifts and does her work unseen." It's phenomenal. It's such an amazing book. I adored what Godden did with it. It was just unique, mind-blowing, lyrical, beautiful, haunting. Oh my god, everything, just amazing. And whilst I've got you, I might as well show you the few little things I picked up today really quickly, and then we'll continue with the rest of the video. I was in Asda doing food shopping. Of course I went down the book aisle. Bookish items that aren't really bookish items, but kind of are. They are notebooks. These are really cute. They're just like plain lined notebooks with peace signs, and this one with the rainbows, which was a hardcover one, same sort of layout there. And then I've been wanting to get this book. I'm so excited I saw this. This is Blackout by 6 authors. So it says, "6 of the biggest stars of YA bring all the electricity of love to a collection of charming, hilarious and heartbreaking tales that shine the brightest light throughout the dark. When a heat wave plunges New York City into darkness, sparks fly for 13 teenagers caught up in the blackout. A first meeting, long-time friends, bitter exes, and maybe the beginning of something new. When the lights go out, people reveal hidden truths. Love blossoms, friendships transforms, and new possibilities take flight." Very excited, and I believe this is all black authors, I think. And I had to pick this up. I love this new cover, and this is a book that I've been wanting to read since like 2019 in specific, because I put it down on my Pop Sugar reading challenge of that year that I didn't get to, and I thought, oh, I'll probably just take it out of the library, but I never got around to doing it. So I thought, well, it's there, it's a nice new cover, let me just grab it. And that is Adam Silvera's They Both Die at the End. So yeah, I really like this cover, and I don't know if it's going to be like too emotional. On September 5th, a little after midnight, Death Cast calls Mateo Torres and Rufus Emeterio to give them some bad news. They're going to die today. Mateo and Rufus are total strangers, but for different reasons. They're both looking to make a new friend on their end day. The good news, there's an app for that. It's called The Last Friend, and through it, Rufus and Mateo are about to meet up for one last great adventure, to live a lifetime in a single day. It does sound really amazing, and I like this concept and strangeness of a death day. It almost reminds me of what's it called, Scythe, that kind of vibe. But it also seems, I don't know, just by the look of it, it makes me think that it is also more contemporary, but just with that as like an advanced, if you'd call it that, aspect to it. So yeah, awesome. Let's get back to the rest of the video. So let's get on to the classics and kind of try and give you guys a little bit more detail than I did in that haul, whether it's up yet or not up yet. So the first one I have here, these are all the books that I got from TK Maxx recently, and they're all these beautiful penguin kind of cloth bound and leather bound, I think, editions. So the first one I have is Beyond Good and Evil by Frederick, I don't know how to pronounce his surname, but this one says that this work dramatically rejects the tradition of Western thought with its notions of truth and God, good and evil. It demonstrates that the Christian world is steeped in false piety and infected with a slave morality. With wit and energy, he turns from this critique to a philosophy that celebrates the presence and demands that the individual imposes their own will to power upon the world. Interesting. Okay, we'll see what that says. Next up I have a Jane Austen, and that is Sanditon. I hadn't heard about this one. It just says it's an unfinished novel. Okay, I don't really know anything else about that. It's an unfinished novel, so that's going to be a little bit annoying, but these things can't be helped. Then I have an Anne Bronte, and this is The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. This one says it's a story of a woman's struggle for independence. Helen Graham has returned to Wildfield Hall in flight from a disastrous marriage. Exiled to the desolate moorland mansion, she adopts an assumed name and earns her living as a painter. This one I don't know an awful lot about, but it's the title, one of the titles that I'm most familiar with, and that is Paradise Lost by John Milton. This one says it is one of the greatest epic poems in English language. It tells the story of the fall of man, a tale of immense drama and excitement, of rebellion and treachery, of innocence pitted against corruption, in which God and Satan fight a bitter battle for control of mankind's destiny. The struggle rages across three worlds, heaven, hell and earth, as Satan and his band of rebel angels plot their revenge against God. At the centre of the conflict are Adam and Eve, who are motivated by all too human temptations, but whose ultimate downfall is unyielding love. That sounds really, really good. Okay, be interesting to see the kind of thoughts, again, on religion, like the first book I mentioned, or the first book out of this stack, to see kind of that thought process during that time. And then lastly, for the classics, I have Arthur Conan Doyle's The Greatest Cases of Sherlock Holmes, and need I say more, this is just a couple of the favourites, basically, Sherlock Holmes stories. So those are they. Sure, that makes sense. I don't really know. Alright then, so as for the Netgalley books that I have been approved for, I have Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Cusnier. It says, in the darkness of night, magic awaits. Set in Nottingham, 1906, Marietta Steele longs to be a ballerina, but as Christmas draws nearer, her dancing days are numbered. At the wishes of her family, she will be obligated to marry and take up her place in society in the new year. But when a mysterious toy maker, Dr. Drosselmeyer, purchases a neighbouring townhouse, it heralds the arrival of magic and wonder in her life. Although Drosselmeyer's magic is darker than Marietta could have imagined. Oh, that sounds so creepy. Next up, I have Aftermath, Life in the Fallout of the Third Reich by Harriet Jana. This is another kind of, I think, memorial biography sort of piece. Germany, 1945, a country in ruins. Cities have been reduced to rubble, and more than half the population are where they do not belong or want to be. It's a nuanced panorama of a nation undergoing a monumental change. It was a wild decade poised between two eras that proved decisive for Germany's future. It evokes an immersive portrait of a society corrupted, demoralised and freed, all at the same time. I have also been approved for a book called A Strange and Brilliant Light by Eli Lee. It's a riveting, thought-provoking, speculative literary novel exploring the impact of the AI revolution through the eyes of three very different young women. I have The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. Dark, evocative and unforgettable fantasy about debut steeped in Hungarian history and Jewish mythology. And the thing that really gripped me is that it said that it's perfect for fans of Catherine Arden, and I loved the Winter Night trilogy. If You Were There, Missing People and the Marks They Leave Behind by Francisco Garcia is a personal journey into the world of missing people. Our author is kind of like a memorial piece, and our author was only, oh my god, a 7-year-old when his father left his family. Let's see. It's a moving and affecting story of one man's search for his lost family, an urgent document of where we are now, and a powerful timeless reminder of our responsibility to others. Re-Educated, How I Changed My Job, My Home, My Husband and My Hair by Lucy Kellaway is a witty and moving story of one woman's pursuit of a new life. It's a celebration of education's power to transform our lives at any age, and an essential companion for anyone facing the joy and pain of starting again. Next one, we've got another beautiful cover here. This is Build Your House Around My Body by Violet Cuppersmith. And it's a feverishly energetic and playfully creepy, unforgettable debut that hurtles through the ghostly secrets of Vietnamese history. Animal by Lisa Tadeo says, I am depraved, I hope you like me. Meet Joan, summer 2021. I drove myself out of New York City where a man shot himself in front of me. He was a gluttonous man. When his blood came out, it looked like the blood of a pig. That's a cruel thing to think, I know. He did it in the restaurant where I was having dinner with another married man. Do you see how this is going? But it wasn't always that way. Oh, this one looks really cute. It's The Red Panda Rescue by Jess Butterworth. This is written for children. I didn't know Orion did children's books. Interesting. It's a brand new illustrated series for young readers about animals and adventure with much loved author Jess Butterworth, writer of classic adventure stories and vibrantly described settings. He has no plans for the summer holidays and is dreading months of boredom. That is until she becomes part of the adventure club and wins a place to go track and monitor endangered red pandas in Nepal. I forgot I had some of these ones. Didn't write them down in my book. I have this beautifully front cover illustrated comic, I think it's a comic, graphic novel comic called We Live by Inaki and Roy Miranda. They're a brother and sister author duo. It says, where all is lost, hope is found. The year is 2084 and the world has changed. Racked by calamities and crawling with monsters, the last remaining humans face a dangerous existence. And now the Earth has been sent a message from the deepest reaches of space, a dark countdown to the extinction of all humanity. But there is hope. 5,000 children will be rescued by these mysterious message senders. This is the journey of Hototo, one of the lucky 5,000, but only if his teenage sister Tala can safely deliver him to the nearest extraction beacon before time runs out. Alright, coming close to the end now, just got a couple more. 3 Bullets by Melvin Burgess. Okay, I'm recognising this author's name. So, he wrote, is it The Lost Witch or something like that? I'm pretty sure he did. And I didn't really enjoy that book at all. So, let's see if this one can rekindle something. I don't know. It says the Bloods are in control and they're desperate to turn Britain into the world they want to see. Right, white, Christian supremacist. Anyone who they call abominable is a target. Amidst the chaos of civil war, the country is on the move as small militia groups fight each other and a sea of refugees escapes the cities and the pursuing Bloods. When her home is destroyed in a bombing raid, Marty must strike out on a mission of her own to save her father and get his vital software into the right hands. Oh, my hips are aching. Oh god. Next up I have The Coward by Jared McGuinness. After a car accident, Jared discovers he'll never walk again. Confined to a giant roller skate, he finds himself with neither money nor job. Worse still, he's forced to live back home with a father he hasn't spoken to in 10 years. The Coward is about hurt and forgiveness. It's about how the world treats disabled people, and it's about how we write and rewrite the stories we tell ourselves about our lives and to try to find a happy ending. Then I have The Giant Dark by Savat Hassin. It's about love and fame inspired by the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. It explores the consuming and devastating effects of using a lover as a muse. Oh, that sounds good. The Upper World by Femi Fadugba is about two teenagers a generation apart. Ooh. About what it can take to get through the day when the odds are against you and why the future is worth fighting for. Oh, it sounds so exciting. Right, the last book that I have to talk about here today is Interviews with an Ape by Felice Fallon. This is a book about vulnerable animals and the men who interact with them, and it's about us, our past and our present, and the way we see the world. It's about the triumph of hope, our infinite capacities to endure and to love, and how we survive through the tales we tell. Most of all, it's a story of homecoming told through a gorilla called Einstein, who comes to us with a remarkable secret. He can communicate with humans through sign language. Alright, so that is my book haul for June. Let me know if you've read any of these, of course, what you thought, any little reviews, non spoilers, of course, and I shall catch you in another video soon. Thank you for watching. Bye!